In this video, we're going to talk about the trampoline station connecting 5 tuck jumps or connecting tuck jump, straddle jump. Notice here the panel mat corral is a little close to the end of the trampoline, and the panel mat actually started to fall off sometimes, so we may need to move the corral a little bit further away from the end to make it feel a little bit more stable. We also need to recognize that there's a lot more than just tuck and straddle that we're working on this trampoline station. So the idea of allowing this as a station instead of just at the end of class allows one person to be on the trampoline at a time and them to control that if they're working correctly with their partners, they could get some additional tramp time. Most kids have never been directed before in their life to do a certain number of something and then stop and then switch with their neighbor. A lot of kids actually find it hard to use that 1-to-1 ratio to count doing something exactly 5 times and then stopping. When kids are connecting jumps, they also often are kind of out of control. So we were lucky in this video. We've got gymnasts who are able to directly connect all the things that they were asked to, but a lot of the kids will start accidentally doing straight jumps in between. They'll kind of bounce all around the trampoline and not be able to stay in one place. And all of those things are important for gymnastics and for learning any sort of body control. So please recognize those things and correct and complement those things so they're getting better at those as well. We also need to make sure they're waiting on the white line using the dot like these kids are, not laying on the trampoline. So learning to use this station is a huge piece of the puzzle. Then we are also doing tuck jumps, as you saw the first gymnast do with their hands on their hips. So she's just focusing on the connecting, staying in one place, freezing at the end. Then the next gymnast used her arms in her tuck jump. I suggest trying to coach forwards down so that when they hit the trampoline, they look like a soldier. And then when they're in the air, it looks like they're hugging their knees. Obviously, we want to be coaching them to lift their knees up to their tummy. And I think a good way to show that is to ask them to sit down on their bottom and hug their knees in front and say, this is what it's supposed to look like. And then have them kneel down so their shins are on the ground and they're sitting their butt on their heels and say, this is not what we want our tuck to look like, not down below our bottom, but up in front of our tummy. And then in the oldest age group, you could see she connected tuck jump, straddle jump 5 times. A tricky piece of that one is switching back and forth. A lot of times kids do the tuck and the straddle in the same jump on accident. So you want to say knees up, touch the tramp, feet out, touch the tramp, knees up, touch the tramp, and make sure they understand it's still 2 separate jumps. I think the best way to coach that is to verbally stand there with them and say kind of rhythmically, tuck, jump, straddle, jump, tuck, jump, straddle, jump. Then they kind of get it stuck in their head and they all really seem to catch on after you do that. And that one's also hard to coach because in the video, you see her do tuck, straddle 5 times in a row, but that's actually 10 jumps. And so you just want to pick some way to describe it. Say, do tuck, straddle 3 times, or tuck, straddle 5 times, or count until you do 6 jumps, and know that that's going to be really tricky for them to figure out how to do it exactly how you described. Overall, though, the idea is because there's one kid on the trampoline and then they climb down and get to climb up and try again, is that we're hoping they could get a little bit more coaching at those things than when they go with multiple kids at a time, like at the end of class, or they're moving down the trampoline so fast that you don't get to talk to all of the kids. So really make an effort to connect with each of them and try to give them some hints or tips or tricks on how they can do whatever it is that they're doing better.